Now we go to Washington. Again, mediation-wise, consider this. The European Union's leadership, most of the major leaders from Europe, France, Germany, Norway, and so on, Italy, the EU leadership, NATO leaders, all came to Washington to attend the meeting between Trump and Zelensky. In terms of dealing with the previous meeting between Zelensky and Trump in the White House, that turned the meeting upside down, I would say, or it certainly made a difference in how the parties dealt with each other. And they again talked. They talked about peace. And after a year, not a year, it seemed like a year, exactly. A day or two of these meetings, and God bless them all of them for trying. You can't fault trying. But what did they come out with? Well, we can't have a ceasefire. All we can have is an effort to reach a peace agreement. Question is, now, do we need a peace agreement? Is that what this is all about? I'll give you a quick answer. No, and I'll tell you why. We've already had many peace agreements, 20 of them with Russia. They signed, starting with the UN Charter, through Helsinki Accords, through 2 Minsk meetings, and Budapest, which I talked about already. They signed and promised to respect the territorial integrity of the nations and Ukraine. And he hasn't respected them. He hasn't respected any of the agreements. There's no need for an agreement. What's needed now is enforcement. Enforcement meaning ceasefire, stop the killing, which is what Trump has declared he wants, is to stop the killing. But how do you stop the killing? How do you reach an agreement? Or what do you do to get a ceasefire? Well, clearly Putin doesn't want a ceasefire. He doesn't want a ceasefire because he's trying to invade all of Ukraine. He wants to subsume all of Ukraine into Russia, and he can't afford a ceasefire. I'll tell you, there are several reasons why he can't afford a ceasefire. And forgive me, I don't want to be lecturing.
No, you're good.
Lecture, but I'm trying to summarize a lot of the.
No, thank you.
Yeah. The first reason is because it seems every time Russia reached any kind of a conclusion to military conflict, there's been an overturn of the government involved. For example, even as far back as the Russian Revolution, the Tsar was trying to reach some sort of a peace deal, and it ended up that they had to kill the Tsar, and there was a revolt. So Putin is walking a tightrope in terms of his own leadership, historically speaking. It's the cards are against him. When he talked to Zelensky saying that you don't have the cards, Putin doesn't have the cards to reach a peace agreement, because if he did, the likely scenario, judging by Russian history, is the upheaval of his government and goodbye Putin. Apart from that, Putin has been, for most of his time in office, he's been a dictator in Russia. And, people who disagree with him end up falling out of buildings and, reach all kinds of strange deaths.
Like Navalny.
Yeah. So there's a problem there. And he needs the war because he's been, he's basically expropriating people's assets, stealing them, essentially, building up his fortune and the fortune of his buddies that are around him, to the expense of the Russian, ordinary salt of the earth people. Yep. So there's a lot of disaffection in Russia, and the economy's on its skids. He's in trouble financially. He's got a hell of a burden financial to meet from day to day, paying all these soldiers for being on the front, and etc.